For many days after that, she did not write in her book. But one day, on an autumn morning, a beggar woman was singing an Agamani song outside. That was a kind of folk song, and Uma heard a beggar woman singing an Agamani song outside. Uma sat listening silently at the window, resting her face on the bars. The autumn sun, in any case, brought back memories of childhood. On top of that, the Agamani song was too much for Uma to bear. So now she was getting reminded of her childhood, that is, the days she spent in her parents' home. Both the autumn sun and the Agamani song, sung by the beggar woman, reminded Uma of her own home. Uma could not sing, but since learning to write, she had developed the habit of writing down any song she heard to lessen the pain of not being able to sing it. Though she did not sing, she compensated the lack of ability to sing by writing down songs. Writing down songs was her hobby. Today, the beggar woman was singing, and now we move on to the lines sung by the beggar woman. The folk of the city say to Uma's mother, "Your lost light has returned." Here, Uma refers to goddess Parvati. Uma is another name for goddess Parvati. So this song is about goddess Parvati. The folk of the city say to Uma's mother, "Your lost light has returned." At this, half crazed, the queen rushes out. "Where are you, Uma? Where are you?" The queen says, weeping, "My Uma, you have come. Come to me, my darling. Come to my arms. Come to me, my darling. Let me hold you just once." At this, stretching her arms around her mother's neck, Uma weeps in hurt pride and says to the queen, "Why didn't you come to fetch your daughter?" So here, this is a song about goddess Parvati talking to her mother, and she is complaining to her mother, saying that you didn't come to fetch your daughter. Resentful anguish welled up in Uma's heart. Her eyes filled with tears. She called the singer secretly to her room, shut the door, and began to write down the song in her eccentric spelling. All the spellings she wrote were wrong, but she identified so much with the song that she started writing down the song in whatever spelling she knew. The song actually represented her own feelings. Tilak Manjari, Kanak Manjari, and Ananga Manjari observed everything through the crack in the door and burst out clapping their hands. "Bau Didi, we have seen what you are doing." So they are only playful. They didn't want to hurt Uma, but they clapped their hands and started calling out, "We have seen what you are doing." Uma quickly unfastened the door, came out, and began to plead with them, "Darling sisters, please don't tell anybody. I beg you, please don't. I'll never do it again. I'll never write again." At length, Uma noticed that Tilak Manjari was eyeing her exercise book. She ran and clutched the book to her chest. Her sisters-in-law tried to take it away from her by force. But when they did not succeed, Ananga Manjari went to summon her brother. They tried to snatch Uma's book from her. They were very curious to know what was in the book and all that, because they had never had a book on their own. And finally, when Uma refused to give the book, Ananga Manjari went to call her brother. Pyari Mohan arrived and sat down grimly on the bed. Very seriously, he sat down. He said in a voice like thunder, "Give me the exercise book." Seeing that his command was not obeyed, he lowered his voice a couple of notes and said, "Give it to me." The little girl clasped the exercise book to her chest and directed a glance of utter supplication at her husband's face. A glance of utter supplication means looking at her husband in the form of a request to let her keep the book. But when she saw Pyari Mohan was getting up to snatch the book from her, she flung it down, covered her face with her hands, and collapsed on the floor. Pyari Mohan took the exercise book and started to read the little girl's composition out in a loud voice. Hearing this, Uma clasped the earth in still tighter embrace, while the other three little girls were beside themselves with laughter. When Pyari Mohan read out poor Uma's compositions, the other girls laughed, and Uma felt so scared and ashamed. She felt harassed. After that day, Uma never got back her exercise book. Pyari Mohan had an exercise book too, filled with barbed essays expounding his elaborate theories. But there was no benefactor of humankind to seize that book and destroy it. So here the author concludes by making a very scornful remark about Pyari Mohan. Pyari Mohan took away Uma's book and never returned the book. Pyari Mohan had an exercise book too, in which he wrote all his foolish essays. The essays which were totally against any change in society. The essays which he wrote without any critical deep thought in order to please his readers. It was in the exercise book that he wrote his curious theories which he evolved on his own without any logic in them. But there was no one powerful enough to seize that book and destroy it. If someone had seized Pyari Mohan's book and destroyed it, it would be a great service to humankind. It would be a benefit to humankind because no more of his foolish essays would come out. But there was no benefactor of humankind to seize the book and destroy it. That's a scornful remark made by Tagore on Pyari Mohan and his foolish essays and his theories, and the power of patriarchy that denies freedom and educational opportunities to poor women.